Hey guys, I'm back making another video. Uh, I just kind of want to get into talking about the symptoms and also explaining why I make videos occasionally. So, ever since I was told I had anxiety, I figured that I'm trying to do everything I can to overcome everything. So, when I had the anxiety attacks uh, in a severe state, basically I reached out a hotline and I called, and sometimes the hotline would definitely work for me. So that's in part of why I'm doing videos, just to help me vent or to help me put things in perspective of how or what's going on and with my mind, with my body, or with the sensations, with the anxiety. It I haven't had the mindset to make videos every day and stuff like that. So it definitely is just something where when anxiety is kicking in or has been with me for a good amount of time, like within 4 or 5 hours or 3 hours or something like that. And it's just an outlet for me to kind of just uh, express myself, I guess. So far for the past 3 weeks, I've been all right. I've been actually overcoming these anxiety sensations and symptoms and everything like that. Uh, Last Saturday, I ended up going to the cardiologist. The cardiologist put a Holter monitor on me for 5 days. I also did a stress test, and basically the stress test came out good. There was no issue with that. I'm still waiting on the Holter monitor results. Doctor said that they would call me once. They would call me if something's wrong, and if there's nothing wrong, they're just gonna give the results to my primary care doctor. And so I'm just waiting on that. I'm waiting on all those things. I'm not anxious about that. Uh, I think the whole anxiety thing really started off with like me being type 2 diabetic, and also me having heart sensations or sensations near my heart. And these sensations were basically, I kind of want to get into the symptoms again, just a little bit, to realize or to make sure that I'm on top of these sensations the way I want to be, I guess. So I'm not even sure if that makes sense, but so the thing that kicked everything off was the sensations near my heart. So it was either on the chest, left to the heart, or right to the heart, or sometimes right in the right over to the left of the center of the chest. And it was basically no crushing pain, nothing like that. It was just like it felt like a tug, like a tugging sensation, like somebody would just like push on it, or something would push on it, left or the right, but it would just be like a pressing sensation. It wasn't like excruciating pain. It isn't like a flutter, like like a heart bouncing up and down or something like that, or skipping a beat. I don't think it would feel like the way the sensation feels. Skipping a beat and having like palpitations. I know the difference between the palpitations and the sensation that I was feeling. The palpitations, usually when you run and when you go up the stairs, your heart pounds and you feel it throughout your body, maybe at your neck and stuff, then that's the palpitation. But this sensation would come at a resting time, when you're resting and just relaxing and doing something, and it was just like all of a sudden there's like a tug. Okay. That was the one that kicked everything off. After that, the next sensation that came around after the anxiety had really kicked in was basically my upper jaw or I couldn't tell, or I can't tell at sometimes whether it is my upper jaw or my lower jaw. Like it gets a little not tight. It gets a little like achy, like if it was hurting, but it was not hurting in excruciating pain. It was just like an ache, like I don't know, like if you chewed too much gum or something like that. But it would come on randomly, and most of the times when the anxiety was high or is higher than normal. Then the next sensation that I would get would be the shortness of breath or not breathing deep enough. For the most part, this sensation happened when I was getting the extreme anxiety, and it was like very sensitive to like, oh, if I tried meditating, it would kind of like get worse, and it was just like a clogged nose sensation, and it would happen on the regular for almost a month. And so far, I haven't had any of these sensations, which is really great. Okay, so this is exactly when I was having the anxiety attacks at its highest peak. On one of those days of the anxiety being real high, I got like a new symptom, which was a headache. Not a headache, but it was more like a buzzing sensation, a buzzing headache, or buzzing tension near my head. It also resulted in a pulsating on the left side of the back of my head. More to the top, more to the left side. It was a pulsating, like I would feel my heart or my pulse through the back of my head, and it was like a throbbing sensation. And that was weird because I've never experienced that. That was really out of the blue. That was a new sensation, something that I've never ever felt before. Even I think I experienced like that, something like in 2003, but it was something to be alarmed for or something like that. But anyway, it was something like weird that I just was like, oh, it didn't cause any alarm. But this time with the anxiety high, it basically it made that pulsing and that buzzing, that foggy brain thing people talk about. That's what I had on one of those the anxiety, when the anxiety was high. That sensation was scary because that made me want to look online and just like, oh, what if I have a brain tumor now, this and that. And typical health anxiety started to overtake my mind and my body, I guess. Anyway, so then that was the new symptom. The second new symptom was like I felt like my veins or the inside of my arms were getting squeezed. Or like if it was like there's a like there was a tension in my veins or in my arms that made it feel like something or someone was pressing the insides of my veins. Not necessarily I wasn't too sure what this was. I actually bought a blood pressure monitor, and I was monitoring my blood pressure on a regular, and my blood pressure is really good, according to this monitor. Okay, that was one. That was a second new symptom. Then there was a third symptom that really also added to the whole thing, which was the numbness, being numb at the bottom of your feet, or having the feeling that you're about to get numb, because it was never a full-blown numbness, like, oh yeah, you're numb and you're basically you could you could feel the pins and needles and stuff. There was no such thing in my feet or my hands, but there was a sensation that the numbness was just about to start, or like there's a underlying pins and needles sensation that if I press or lean on my foot or lift my foot in a L position when I'm sitting, it would automatically go into a numb sensation. So the numbing was very new. That was something that I just also was like, oh no, what's going on? I'm at risk of having a stroke now. That's where I went into the mindset of like, oh, the numbness is causing me to, I have clogged arteries, and this is why I'm getting numb. Anyway, so this sensation, the arteries that I feel like there's somebody squeezing them, sometimes shows up, but sometimes doesn't. And for the most part, the old sensations of shortness of breath, the like stuffy nose that I can't properly breathe, or the heart sensations, those symptoms have really reduced at 100%. I want to say 90%. The sensations in the heart sometimes come and go depending. So the symptoms that I'm left with are basically the sensation that you're about to get numb majority of the time. Oh, I forgot another sensation that I've recently, after the head buzzing, I started to experience like slight pressure behind my eyes, or tired eyes, or I can't tell what it is. It's whether it's a pressure behind my eyes or is it tiredness behind that, usually, or tightness in the eye, or dryness. I keep blinking and it would like feel weird, like better. Sometimes I take off my glasses and I like massage my eyeballs or something just to see if like it feels better, and it does. It could be that. I've never suffered from any eye sensations or anything like that. I did my eye exam like a year ago, like the thorough one that diabetics need to do to check the retina and all this other stuff, and I was all right. As of right now, the sensation of the eyes, the numbness, are the main ones that are with me on a regular basis. I try my best to not let it get to me, which it doesn't. Like I stop thinking about these kind of things and then they'll just disappear, which is great. Sometimes they stick around for a little while, maybe 3 hours, 2 hours, and I'm all right. I think part of the majority of the reason why I'm feeling better is because I drastically changed my diet. Sometimes I do look at my diet and wonder, when am I going to be eating regular food like pasta, bread? And the reality of the truth is, as a type 2 diabetic, you're not supposed to be really eating that. It's 100% carbohydrates, and you are basically putting stuff into your body that will make your diabetes or your blood sugar harder to control. My diabetes is not as bad as I was thinking. I bought a glucose meter like a month ago, and I check my blood sugars regularly, and so far the highest number I ever saw on there was 170, and that was specifically because I had ate a couple scoops of ice cream and my sugar had gone up. So I feel that the anxiety has diminished due to me eating large amounts of leafy vegetables. I'm talking about 7 to 10 cups per meal, and proteins and some nuts here and there, and the weight loss has definitely been increasing. But with anxiety, there are things that made me wonder whether I was actually losing weight because of the dieting or because I had something else wrong with me. So basically the anxiety would make me feel like, oh, I lost 3 pounds again this week, 4 or 5 pounds the following week or something. And it was just like, oh, do I have an autoimmune disease or something that is making me lose weight this fast? Because I've always been a big guy. I was 280 when I first was diagnosed with diabetes. Then I went down to 260. Now I'm at 235 on an empty stomach. And it was just worrisome, like, oh, you're losing weight like there's no tomorrow, and stuff. So what I'm basically saying, that these symptoms have gotten a lot less, or have been coming into my life a lot less, due to the proper diet that I'm having or doing. Yes, I crave pizza, I crave fried food sometimes, I crave Mexican food. All the food that I used to eat, which was never at home. I was always eating out at restaurants, at fast foods and stuff. And, I can blame myself for giving myself diabetes in that sense. Eating unhealthy, eating recklessly, eating anything and everything that was put on the table. Now I'm very cautious of what I eat. Some people can do it, some people can't. And I was one of those people who thought I couldn't, but I think this is more like I took it to heart. Like the mentality was, do this diet or die. But maybe that's too extreme, because that was the mentality of the anxiety kicking in and telling me, well, if you don't eat this vegetable stuff and you're eating all this rice and flour stuff and bread and pasta, noodles and stuff, it was going to be death, basically. Like, oh, you're choosing to die faster or earlier. There are people who are diabetic, type 2 diabetics, all their lives. My mom was diabetic, or is diabetic. My dad's diabetic, and they're in their mid-70s, and they are okay, although they take medication and they eat. But I don't know, if I could do something about it now, eating right, exercising, or at least trying to exercise, then why not? I got my feet, they don't hurt, they don't ache, and I need to do something for it now to extend all my how do you say it? To reduce and to extend my life expectancy. Hopefully, you know, at one point when I was getting the anxiety, with the severe anxiety, I felt like this was it. I felt like I was really gonna die, like at any moment. So far, the food and the times that I eat has really improved and helped me feel better, whether it be because it is healthy or because it is a peace of mind that I'm like, oh, I'm eating healthy and the right foods. One of the things I have noticed that if I do have something that is what I consider not too healthy or not suitable for a type 2 diabetic, I notice that my anxiety goes into action. So I think this is where the health anxiety starts to elevate itself, or like my understanding about certain foods, whether they are good or bad, is comes out through my thought process. And I think that's where the anxiety takes over. Like, oh, I just had a pepperoni pizza or something, or I ate too late. Excuse me. Or I ate too late, and then all of a sudden now I'm like, oh, because I'm eating this late, I have a higher risk of having a heart attack. Like maybe if I ate like a buffet style, maybe, or something, not even then, but if I had eaten a whole bunch of unhealthy things, maybe, but even then, my diabetes is not 100% out of control where it's like, oh, it's jumping off the charts. I never see my numbers go past 140. So at least those things give me the peace of mind. Yeah. But other than that, the YouTube video, watching and creating or making some or talking to a video helps me put at ease most of the things. Sometimes even the hotline. I called the hotline the other day because I was starting to feel anxious and I sounded really silly, or I felt silly because it was like, oh, I'm calling because I think I'm gonna start to feel anxious or something, and about things that I already knew or had the facts to, So it was kind of like just, like, it's a work in progress. Anyway, I'm heading to work, and there's these like massive amounts of traffic. Yeah. So anyway, I'm gonna continue doing what I need to do. If anybody watches this, then give me a thumbs up. And yeah, I guess I'll see you on the next video.